Today we will see algebra and number theory. In unit 1, we are going to see cosets and Lagrange's theorem. This is lecture 5. Topics covered in this unit: cosets, Lagrange's theorem, permutation. Course outcome of this video: to gain knowledge on cosets, application on Lagrange's theorem, and to verify group with the help of permutations. Definition: cosets. Let H, binary operation star be a subgroup of G under binary operation star. Let A belong to G be any element such that AH is equal to within the brackets A into H such that H belongs to H. This we call it as A is multiplied with the H through left side. We say this is left coset of H in G determined by A. Sometimes AH is written as A into H. The set HA is equal to H into A, where H belong to capital H is called right coset of H in G, which is determined by A. Note, if H is finite, H and AH have same number of elements, then we say order of H is equal to order of AH. Lagrange's theorem. The statement is the order of a subgroup H of a finite group G divides the order of a group. That is, order of H divides order of G. So, H is a subgroup of G. We have to prove that order of H divides order of G. So, let H under binary operation star be a group of order n, and H is a subgroup of order with m. Since G is a finite group, the number of left coset of H in G is also finite. Let R be the number of cosets H in G. We take R cosets from H, R cosets in H in G. A1H, A2H up to ARH. These are the cosets in H. R number of cosets in H, which is in G. We know that a left coset of G form partition of G. We can write it as G is equal to A1H union A2H union up to ARH. All the cosets, when you take union, you will get the group G. Now we find the order of G, that is equal to order of the whole cosets. So we can write order of A1H plus, the union becomes plus addition, order of A1H plus order of A2H plus, and so on up to plus order of ARH. Now this can be written in a general way, order of AI into H, which is equal to order of H. Now order of G is equal to, this is I number of times you have to write order of H. So we can write this one, order of H plus order of H up to R times. Totally up to order of A1H up to R times we have added. So we write order of H in terms of, in R times we will add all the elements. Now this is order of H plus order of H up to R times we have given. So R into order of H we can write. Bring order of H to the opposite side, we will get order of G divided by order of H is equal to R. So this is nothing but, thus order of H divides order of G. We have proved the Lagrange's theorem. Corollary 1. Order of any element of finite group G divides order of G. So we have to prove this a corollary with the help of Lagrange theorem statement. Let G be a finite group of order n. Take an element A belong to G and order of A is equal to m. Order of G is n, order of A is m. Then here, since then a cyclic group A is of order m. So by Lagrange's theorem we can write order of H divides order of G. What is order of H? We write it as A is a cyclic group which is in H. Order of A divides order of G is equal to, this value as order is m, m divides n. Thus we proved that order of any element of a finite group G divides the order of G. So here A is any element, order of any element divides order of G, that is m divides n. We'll see corollary 2. Any group of a prime order is cyclic. Proof. Let G be a group of order P, where P is a prime. Then you take an element A belongs to G, where A not equal to E. So A cannot be equal to identity element. Already we have studied in a cyclic group A power n equal to E. So A which is not equal to E. Then H is equal to cyclic group A. Now since A not equal to E, order of H will be not equal to 1 because this is identity element. So order of H not equal to 1. So this is here any group of a prime order they have asked. So 1 cannot be a prime. So order of H is which is not equal to 1 since order of H is greater than equal to 2. Prime number starts from 2. So obviously order of H will be more than 2. Now by Lagrange's theorem we can write order of H divides order of G. So order of H divides order of G. G has a order P which is prime. So order of G I can write it as P. So one number divides a prime number means what is that number? That number will be a prime number. That number will be a prime number or it will be 1. Already we said order of H is not equal to 1. We cannot take 1. So we are taking P. Order of H is equal to P. Therefore order of H is equal to P is the order of G. So I am writing order of H is equal to order of G. Hence G equal to H which is a cyclic group. Therefore G is cyclic. Therefore any group of a prime order is cyclic we have proved. Note, if G is cyclic group of order P, a prime number, then G has no proper subgroup. In other words, we can tell the only subgroups of G are E and G. Example 1. Find the left cosets of subgroup H is equal to 0, 3 of the group Z6, addition modulo 6. Z6 is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and H is equal to 0 and 3. So Z6 under addition modulo 6 was given and H also given. H is a subgroup of Z6. Now we want to find out left coset of the subgroup. So left coset of a H are, you should, this is under addition. If it is a product means A into H. Now it is given in addition. So A plus H. That A value is added with the subgroup values. A added with the first value 0 and A added with the second value 3. Where A belong to Z6. A can be 0, A can be 1, A can be 2, A can be 3, A can be 4 and A can be 5. Now we will do the procedure. A plus H is equal to A plus 0, it is A plus 3. Then 0 plus H is equal to 0 plus first element 0, it is 0. Then 0 plus second element 3, we get 3, which is nothing but again H only we are getting. Then 1 plus H we are adding. 1 plus 0, 1. 1 plus 3, we get 4. Then 2 we are adding with H. 2 plus 0, 2. 2 plus 3, we get 5. Then 3 we are adding with H. 3 plus 0, 3. 3 plus 3 we get 6. It is given under addition modulo 6. So what happens when you get 6? You have to write 0. 3 comma 0. It is nothing but 0 comma 3. Both are same. So here we have represented as yes. So H, here also we will write H. So we got the repeated value after 3. 0 plus H. Then in 3 plus H we get repeated H. Now add 4 plus H. Then 4 plus 0, 4. 4 plus 3, we get 7. So the remainder, addition modulo 6, we get the remainder 1. So it can be written as 1 comma 4. 1 comma 4 already you got, which is nothing but 1 plus H. So we have written 1 plus H. Then 5 plus H when you add, 5 plus 0 which is 5 and 5 plus 3 we get 8. The remainder is 2. 5 comma 2. Already you got 2 comma 5. So both are same. We can write it as 2 plus H here. So we again after the 3 0, 1, 2 third element when you are adding with H, we get the repeated values. So therefore the distant cosets are H, the first one H, then 1 plus H, then 2 plus H. Now we will see example 2. Determine all cosets of subgroup H is equal to 1 comma A square of a group. G is equal to 1 A square A cube under multiplication where A power 4 is equal to 1. So we want to find out all the cosets of a subgroup H. So take G is equal to the given elements is a group multiplication and A power 4 is equal to 1. Now we find the left cosets of H. H is equal to 1 comma A square. H is equal to 1 comma A square. What is the formula? We want to find out the coset. H is equal to 1 into H slash H belong to capital H. What is the value? The H value contains 1 comma A square. So when you multiply with 1, what you get? 1 into 1, 1 into A square, it is A square. That is nothing but H. Then A into H you multiply. A into H when you multiply, A into 1, A into A square. We get A comma A cube. So you are multiplying A element with the H values, H elements. A square into H is equal to A square into small h. So A square into 1 comma A square into A square. So we get A square into A power 4. So here A power 4 was given 1. So we get A square comma 1. That is nothing but already you got 1 comma A square. Both are same. I can write it as H. A cube into H, that is A cube into H slash H belong to capital H, we write it as A cube into 1 comma A cube into A square. So we get A cube comma A, which is nothing but here we get A power 5. Already you know that A power 4 is equal to 1. So we write the remainder value A. Since A power 4 is equal to 1, we have applied. Then A cube comma A is already here you got A cube. So this can be written as AH. Now, thus there are two distinct left cosets of H in G. What are they? You have got 1 comma A square, 1 comma A square which is H, and A comma A cube, that is here, A comma A cube value. So only two distinct elements, these two are repeated here. So here determine all the cosets of subgroup by taking two elements. When you multiplied with the four values in G, we got only two distinct left cosets of H and G. These two elements we got for H. Note, the index of H in G is 2. Since G is cyclic and hence abelian, H is a normal subgroup of G. So every left coset is also a right coset. So when you find a left coset, that is also equivalent to right coset. So for in a practice problem, we can see find all the subgroups of Z9 comma addition modulo 9 in a by seeing the previous example, and for the group G is equal to Z12 under addition and H was given, we can find out the cosets of H in G. So Z12 means you will have to write 12 elements, and those 12 elements one by one you should multiply with H to find the cosets of H in G. Permutation. Let S be a non-empty set. A bijective function f from S to S is called permutation. So here, if S has n elements, then permutation is has a degree n. So usually we take S is equal to, it has n elements. So we can write 1, 2, 3 up to n. The set of all permutations on a set of n symbols is denoted by Sn. See, we write it in a permutation like a matrix. So if S is equal to 1, 2, 3, then prove that S3, dot is a non-abelian group where product is a composition. This dot is a composition of a function. So S3 is coming under product, which is dot product. Since given S is equal to 1, 2, 3, and the total number of permutations we want to find out. So we have a 3 elements. It is the formula is n factorial. So when you take 3 factorial, which is equal to 6 type of permutations we are able to form, like a P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6 with the help of these 3 elements. Now the permutations are formed here. P1, we have totally 3 elements, 1, 2, 3. In the next first row we write in all the permutations, we will write all the rows first. First row we can write 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that. We will fill the first row. The second row we have to write 1, 2, 3. Then 1, 3, 2. What are the 3 different ways? There are totally 6 forms we can write 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So we get 6 permutations. Then S3 is equal to which has 6 type of permutations P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6. And the binary operations on S3 is the composition of a function which is a dot. The operation is performed on the left as below. So how to perform? Since 1 into P1 we should multiply. Actually all these values which we are finding here, we have to fill it in the Cayley table. Directly we can't multiply this permutation. Directly using the Cayley table we can't multiply P1 into P2. We don't know what you get, P3 or P4. So we will calculate all the elements here. 1 into P1 we get P1. 2 into P2 we get 2. 3 into P3 we get 3. So P1 is the identity element on S. P1 when you multiply with all the elements you will get again the same element. So we say P1 is the identity element on S. Now we will check with P2. So P1 into P2. So P1 into P2 how to multiply? Write P1 value and P2 permutation. Now 1 goes to 1 and next matrix 1 goes to 1. So 1 goes to 1. 2 goes to 2. In next matrix this 2 here you have to see 2 goes to 3. So for 2 you should write 3. 3 goes to 3 and for 3 it goes to 2. So this for 3 it directly goes to 2. For 3 you have to write 2. Similar way you can also find out P1 into P3, P1 into P4. Then I have written P1 into P5. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is a permutation already we have formed. So 1 goes to 1. In the next matrix again 1 goes to 3. So 1 goes to 3. So I have written 1 goes to 3. 2 goes to 2. Again 2 goes to 1. So 2 goes to 1. 3 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 2. Now 3 goes to 2. 3 goes to 2. Similarly, we can find other values. Now coming to the, after finding all the values, we will get these values. P1 into P1, it is P1. P1 into P2, which is nothing but P2 into P1, which is equal to P2. Same way P1 into P3, which is equal to P3 into P1, which is nothing but P3. Same way, it is commutative, so we get the same element P4. So P1 when multiplied with any element you get the same element, something like a P5. P1 is the identity element. Now we will multiply P2 with other P values. So P2 into P3, P2 matrix into P3, P2 into P3, 1 into 1 and 1 goes to 2. So for 1 you should write 2. 2 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 1. So for 2 it is 1. 3 goes to 2, for 2 it goes to 3. So for 3 you should write 3. Which is nothing but P4. So P2 into P3, I am going to write P4 in the Cayley table, not the matrix. So P2 into P4, write P2, write P4, multiply, you get this one. It is not a normal product, you have to see the value. 1 goes to 1, so here 1 goes to 2. So 1 goes to 2. 2 goes to 3, for 3 goes to 3. So 2 goes to 3. Likewise, you fill it, which is nothing but P3. Similarly, we can find the other values. Now we will write it in the Cayley table. So dot product composition table P1, P2, P3, fill all the values. P1 into P1. P1 is the identity element. When P1 multiplied with all the elements, you get the same elements. Same way, whatever we found out previously, P1 into P2, it is P2, P1 into P3, P3, P1 into P4, P4, P1 into P5, P5, P1 into P6, P6, and fill all the elements. This is the body of the Cayley table. Now we have to check for closure, associative, identity, inverse. So closure. Since the body of the table contains only the elements of S3. Now here you can see. Look at the elements. You got only P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6. All these elements are present in S. Not you didn't get P7 and P8. So all the elements which is contained in S. So here we write it S3 is closed with respect to dot composition. Associativity, since associativity under product is true, so we know composition of a functions is associative and it is true in S3. Also associative axiom is also verified. You can check in the Cayley table. Identity element we want to find out. So what is identity element? All the elements when taking composition with the P1 we get the same elements. So which is the identity element? Here P1 is the identity element. So P1 is the identity element of S3. Now we want to check inverse. To find the inverse, actually what is the identity element? It is P1. So you should see the table. You got P1 here. That means P1 inverse is P1. A into A inverse is equal to E. So this is the A inverse. Again here P1 you see. P2 inverse is P2. So you got P1. Now P3 inverse. What is the inverse of a P3? Where you get P1? Here. So P3 inverse is P5. Same way here. P4 inverse is P4. Same way P5 inverse is P3. So that you are getting P1. And P6 inverse is P6, we are getting P1. So here inverse in P1, find P1 inverse in the Cayley table. P1 inverse is P1, P2 inverse is P2, P3 inverse is P3 and P4 inverse is P4. Same way P5 inverse is P5. Same way P6 inverse is P6. So like this you can identify the inverse value in the from the Cayley table. Thus inverse exists for every element, hence inverse axiom is verified. S3 comma dot is a group and we have to check the abelian. So what is abelian formula? A into B is equal to B into A. So P3 into P4 we are getting P2 but P4 into P3 we get P6. So both are not equal. So S3 comma under a dot product is a group but not commutative. Thank you students. We'll see practice problems in the Google Meet session. Thank you.